What's up, everybody? Mo Nazar here, and this is another video of me doing some RTAs. Well, essentially, this is me sort of taking a back seat while I have some old footage of my RTAs. I mean, as you can tell, some of the monsters I have in my monster box are not up to date, and the reason why is because this was recorded way back when I was having problems with my laptop. So what happened was when I had problems with my laptop, it couldn't stream like right now. As you can tell, you know, you have the host capture and stuff. It only recorded the game footage, and at that time I was into the habit of recording YouTube videos and playing at the same time, so I didn't want to waste any of the footages. And I guess you can say, you know, I thought I could save it, and I also uploaded a few Guild War videos without any commentary or any audio. Like I said, because I was playing these live and recording them live, as opposed to now in this brand new format, you know. And to be frankly honest, after learning how to use After Effects on my own, that's right, courtesy of YouTube. Seriously, if you want to learn anything, just Google it on YouTube. So I learned how to use After Effects, and I guess you can say I got a bit more advanced in terms of my editing skills, and I guess I could say take old footages and then put them together in more interesting content. And so yeah, this is a look at my RTA, you know, real-time arenas. We'll be getting into the replays pretty soon. And if you want to know exactly, like for example, if you want to like stop this video right now and pause and look at the runes that I'm using, feel free to do so. I think a lot of YouTubers that cover Summoner's War, they tend to do that. Like, you know, they have their runes and their stats, and then they're like, okay, you know, pause it, because it's YouTube. You can pause it whenever you want. You can pause me right now if you like. But yeah, I mean, aside from talking about, you know, I mean, you could view the footage and see my RTAs as it goes along. But aside from talking about the game, you know, there were a couple other things that I wanted to talk about. Like recently, I got an email from one of my subs, and the thing is, it was kind of funny. He was saying, I assume it was he, you know, he was saying something along the lines of, like, you know, he enjoyed watching some of my videos because in terms of compared to some of the other YouTubers who are covering Summoner's War, I don't have an accent. Now the thing is, that's pretty funny for me, because like you know, it took me a while. When I read that, I was like, I don't have an accent, because you have to understand where it came from. You know, I mean, originally I was born in Syracuse, New York, and I grew up in Honolulu, Hawaii. And when I was about 15 years old, I came to Malaysia, and I never left. So I've been in Malaysia for about like 15, 16 years, bordering on 17 years right now. And I guess you can see for the whole 17 years, everybody's like, you know, what's the story with your accent? You know, like, where does it come from? And I'm like, oh yeah, you know, grew up in Hawaii, was from the United States of America, and now I'm in Asia. Hey, you know. So then I realized, like, oh, okay, this person must be American, you know. I mean, like, because to Americans, I don't have an accent, you know. I don't have anything that distinguishes me from the, I guess you could say, your everyday American accent speaker, you know what I mean? And I do realize that I'm Asian, you know. I'm Asian, yeah. So I'm an American. I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah. So if you're watching this, you know, and you're wondering where does the accent come from, that's my backstory, you know. And then I was very fortunate enough to like get into TV. You know, I got into hosting, and it was really a wonderful thing. I was doing this show called ATV Night Live, and if you are not from Malaysia or never seen or don't really watch 8TV, you can Google it, 8TV Night Live. I think there's a couple of random interviews recorded by some of the fans of the show, because we covered various different topics. But yeah, and the funny thing is, right, like, you know, I never thought of you know, going back to that format, because 8TV Night Live, you know, came out at a time when, you know, the whole YouTube PewDiePie craze thing, you know, I mean, wasn't a thing, you know, I mean, and so you had the television screen, and then you had the chat box in one corner, and you had a small frame where the hosts were talking, and the whole unique draw of the show was that you could communicate with the host, because you know, there was this fourth wall that we broke whenever we did the show 18 Night Live, you know, so the people watching the show could converse with us by sending us an SMS, and it would appear in the chat. We would read the chat and then react to it. And it's very similar to like how like the format I'm having right now with with this video covering Summoners War. So, it's kind of funny that I'm returning back to the format. It's like as if fate would have it that I would be on YouTube. But yeah, but it was a very interesting show because when I first started ATV Night Live, I was still doing radio with Fly FM, and one of my co-hosts, sorry, one of the jocks on Fly FM, Jules. I don't know if anybody remembers Jules, but she was on Fly FM. She recommended me for an audition for this new show called ATV Night Live, and the whole concept originally was supposed to be a radio show, but it was televised on TV with all the blips and blops. One of them happened to be the chatting feature. The radios would be like, "Oh, well, right now on Twitter, we got a comment from Bobby B. Bobby B asked, like, exactly why do we speak in these funny voices? Well, we swallowed a whole lot of helium." But yeah, so I mean, stuff like that. It was supposed to capture all of that onto a television show. And I had on ATV Night Live, one of the first co-hosts I had was a guy named Mike Hampton, and he was originally a blogger. Back when bloggers were a huge thing, bloggers were like borderline celebrities in Malaysia. It was insane. So he was doing a blog called Dr. Popcorn, review movies and stuff like that. And he somehow managed to get across some TV execs and pitch an idea that was very similar to Kevin Rose's and Alex Albrecht's Dig Nation. So Dig Nation was basically two guys on a couch with laptops talking about what's happening on the internet. So that was essentially what Dig Nation was all about. It's just no edits, no nothing, just straight off live. And then we ended up copying that one because Kevin Rose used to be from Tech TV, so I knew him from shows that he did on Tech TV. And then when I Googled him and then saw some of his Dig Nation videos, I was like, oh my god, this is brilliant. It's basically two guys talking their mind. I mean, there is a sort of strain of topics. So that's why like ATV Night Live came out in a very weird format. It came out in a format where we did have some sort of things on the internet, on the laptop, which was connected to the internet. So we had these articles that we wanted to talk about, and it was just our live reactions. Reading this, sometimes a headline of a trending article, we're like, oh my god, like it was a little bit like Young Turks. I don't know if anybody watches Young Turks on YouTube, but it was almost like Young Turks. And in a way, I guess you can say I conduct some of my YouTube videos of Summoners War similarly, strangely enough. But yeah, so that was the little history of how I got into television, and I got into radio just by being one of those on-ground crew, and it was actually quite funny. I was actually working for an advertising agency at the time as an accounts manager. So I managed the clients and stuff like that. And I had a friend who was also I guess you could say he was also a client slash friend, and he was working. He started a job at a radio station, Fly FM, and it was like, oh yeah, we're looking for people who can talk. And of course, I always stood up because I was the guy with the American accent, and I'm loud, I'm very chattery. And he's like, yeah, you should try this job. So I actually quit my advertising job to join a job as a cruiser. What we did was just we went around, we drove around, we were the Fly FM IV troopers. We go into a parking lot or something, and we just set up the car. The car would open up, we blast the speakers, we made sure it was a party, and it was very, I don't know, rave club MC. It was like, everybody, what you doing? That's what, put your hands in the air. Yeah, that kind of shit, So it was a time. It was a different time. It was a different time, and I don't know. I was like a Mexican jumping bean, I was a young man, but a very energetic young man. It was almost like Duff Man from my character. Whenever I got into the Fly FM IV Trooper mode, was very much like Duff Man from The Simpsons. I even had the whole "That's right," Duff Man, give the people what they want. So which was my imitation of the Winamp. The Winamp prompt. Whenever sometimes it was like Winamp kicks the llama's ass. But yeah, so that was a very long time. As you know, that's the era that I came from. So yeah, that was I noticed like a lot of the YouTubers, are people who are a a lot younger than me. I mean, I remember once upon a time that the only play that you can play your favorite game was on an arcade. I remembered in an arcade. Sorry, yeah, there we go. In an arcade, not on an arcade. I'm on an arcade, but yeah, and remembering trees and stuff like that. But and not only that, I remember a time when the internet just came out and everybody was like, "What the frack is this thing?" And yeah, exactly. And it had that thing where like if you wanted to dial it, was like, uh, yeah, yes. Like you had to wait a day for a song to load or something? Oh, 300 bucks for a song. Gosh. Oh, that was the internet bill. Oh my God, yeah. Like if you wanted to download that, this was before like Napster, and so downloading music was like, it was just like, oh, okay, we're sharing a file, and I remember that like buying records and buying CDs and stuff like that. You go into a CD shop. I remember playing Magic the Gathering. What happened was we were buying some CDs for a friend's birthday, and then right next, it was in Hawaii. There was a place called Jellies, and they would also sell records, very indie books and comic books. No, we were there for comic books, but yeah, yeah, but and also CDs. And right next to the comic books was this guy, and he just set up shop and was like, we're like, well, what is this? He's like, oh, it's a brand new game called Magic the Gathering, and that was like the alpha version, So that was a very long time ago, but so. And then, one thing about coming from that era is that you get to see industries progress. Like, the internet evolved into this thing that it is today. YouTube evolved into this thing that it is today. I sound like an old man when I say that. I'm no longer my producer's like, you are old. I'm like, yeah, I guess I am. But yeah, I came, and then watching the game industry go from like Super Mario Brothers to like billion-dollar graphics. My God, I mean, and I remember feeling excited about graphics that look nothing better than like Minecraft. That was a time when you were just like, that was advanced shiznit. But more on that later on. But if you like me just babbling on while talking about the game Summoner's War at the same time, let me know in the comment section about this video. It's a different in tone. It's different. I'm trying something different. If you like it, let me know. If you don't, let me know as well. So Mo Nazrul here, and I'm checking out.